As the first light of dawn begins to gently brush the rooftops of an ancient Roman city, we find ourselves in a place where history does not shout, but whispers through everyday lives. Here, amidst the narrow, winding streets, nestled between the grand narratives of emperors and battles, lies a story often overlooked: the quiet rhythm of an ordinary Roman morning. In this place, the air is filled with the soft murmur of anticipation, a city slowly stirring to life. Imagine a modest shop tucked away on a bustling street, its shutters still closed against the cool remnants of the night. The world beyond is poised for the day to unfold, each moment a delicate echo of countless mornings that have come before. This imagined scene invites us to step back in time, to wander through this intricate tapestry of history, not as distant observers, but as gentle participants in the unfolding day. We invite you to share with us where you are listening from and what time it is, creating a mosaic of moments that transcend time and place. And if this journey through time resonates with you, consider subscribing to join us on further explorations with The Wandering Mind. As the shopkeeper inside begins to stir, we are reminded that history is not merely the grand tales of triumph and defeat, but a series of quiet continuities. It is the familiar creak of wooden shutters as they are drawn open, the soft rustle of awnings being unfurled, and the first tendrils of morning light spilling into a space that, for today, will be both a place of commerce and community. The shopkeeper moves with a purposeful ease, their actions practiced and sure. Each gesture, from the careful arrangement of goods to the sweeping away of yesterday's dust, tells a story of survival and adaptability. The shop is not merely a place of business, but a living entity, reflecting the lives of those who inhabit it, shaped by their hopes, their struggles, and their dreams. Outside, the street begins to awaken. The first sounds of footsteps echo softly against the cobblestones, a gentle reminder of the city's heartbeat. Neighbors greet each other with nods and quiet words, their conversations weaving an invisible thread of connection that holds the community together. This street, like so many others across the empire, is a space not just for transit, but for interaction, a canvas upon which the daily life of Rome is painted. With the shop now open to the world, the day truly begins. The shopkeeper stands ready to welcome the first customers, their presence a testament to the enduring human spirit of enterprise and resilience. Each transaction, each exchange, is a dance of trust and negotiation, a subtle interplay of social and economic ties that bind the fabric of Roman society. In this moment, we find a bridge between then and now, a gentle reminder that the past is not a foreign country, but a familiar friend. As we stand at the threshold of this ordinary Roman morning, we are invited to see the world not through the eyes of conquerors or kings, but through those of an ordinary shopkeeper, whose life, though unrecorded in history's grand annals, is no less significant. As the light of the new day grows stronger, let us pause to appreciate this moment of quiet continuity. It is a moment that transcends time, a connection to the countless lives that have come before and will continue long after us. In this simple act of opening a shop at dawn, we find a reflection of our own lives, a reminder that history is not just the story of extraordinary events, but the accumulation of ordinary days, each as precious and unique as the last. And so, as we embark on this journey together through the streets of ancient Rome, let us carry with us the gentle wisdom that history is alive in each moment, waiting to be discovered anew. In the gentle light of dawn, as the shutters of a Roman shop creak open to the world, one might pause to consider the individual who stands behind the counter, ready to greet the day. Who, truly, was a Roman shopkeeper? In the vast tapestry of Roman society, this figure, often overlooked in the grand narratives of emperors and battles, played a crucial role in the daily life of an ordinary Roman street. To begin understanding this, we must first unravel the very definition of a shopkeeper in ancient Rome. The concept was markedly different from the contemporary idea of a business owner. In Roman terms, the word taberna referred to a shop, but it also encapsulated so much more than a mere place of commerce. These tabernae, lining the bustling streets of Roman cities, were small, often modest establishments where a variety of goods were sold. They existed alongside market stalls, which were temporary setups in bustling forums and public spaces. While market stalls were ephemeral, the taberna was a fixture, a stable presence amidst the ever-flowing tide of Roman life. The social status of a shopkeeper was a complex matter, deeply entwined with the intricate structures of Roman society. Many shopkeepers were free citizens, but this did not necessarily equate to a high social standing. In fact, the social prestige of a Roman shopkeeper was often modest, far removed from the elite echelons of senators and equestrians. Yet, it was the shopkeepers who formed the backbone of the urban economy, bridging the gap between the rural producers and the urban consumers. Interestingly, the line between home and workplace was often blurred for these shopkeepers. Unlike the separation we might expect today, a taberna was frequently attached to a domus or house, where the shopkeeper and their family lived. This blending of living and working spaces created a unique environment where business and domestic life intertwined seamlessly. It was not uncommon for family members to assist in the shop, making the business a true family enterprise. The status of shopkeepers varied further, as many were freedmen, individuals who had once been enslaved but had earned their freedom. These freedmen often took on roles as shopkeepers, using the skills and resources they had acquired during their servitude to build a new life. This path was not without its challenges, as societal prejudice could linger, but it also offered a way to achieve a degree of economic stability and independence. In some cases, enslaved individuals were put in charge of managing a taberna on behalf of their owners. These enslaved managers were responsible for the day-to-day operations, handling transactions, and managing stock, all while remaining under the control of their masters. This arrangement highlights the intricate social dynamics of Roman commerce, where status and autonomy were constantly negotiated. The Roman shopkeeper's world was one of informality and personal relationships. Transactions were often conducted on a basis of trust and familiarity, with regular customers forming a vital part of the shop's community. Unlike today's formalized business environments, Roman shops operated within a network of social connections, where reputation and personal bonds held significant weight. As we delve deeper into the realm of the Roman shopkeeper, it becomes evident that these establishments were typically small and family-run. The majority of shops were single-room affairs, with a counter facing the street, designed to attract the attention of passers-by. This simplicity belied the complexity of the daily operations, where a shopkeeper had to balance the demands of trade with the rhythms of family life. The goods sold in a taberna varied widely, reflecting the diverse needs of Roman society. While some shops specialized in particular wares, many offered a variety of items, from foodstuffs and household goods to clothing and tools. This lack of strict specialization was practical, allowing shopkeepers to cater to the immediate demands of their customers and adapt to changing circumstances. The role of a Roman shopkeeper was, therefore, multifaceted, requiring a keen understanding of both commerce and community. They were merchants, negotiators, and neighbors, all rolled into one, weaving their lives into the fabric of the street they inhabited. Through their daily interactions, they contributed to the vibrant tapestry of Roman urban life, where each shop was a thread in the wider pattern of the city. In contemplating the life of a Roman shopkeeper, we find a narrative not of grandiose achievements, but of everyday resilience and adaptability. These individuals, through their ordinary yet essential roles, remind us of the continuity of human experience, where the rhythms of work and home intertwine, creating a life that is both humble and profound. As we stand in the midst of this ancient street, we are invited to see beyond the stone facades and into the lives of those who lived and worked, shaping the world in quiet but significant ways. In the gentle light of dawn, the Roman street begins to stir, a narrow ribbon of cobblestones weaving through the city's fabric. Our imagined shopkeeper stands at the threshold, the wooden shutters of the taberna still fastened, contemplating the day ahead. These streets, more than mere passageways, are the arteries of daily life, pulsating with activity and purpose. The Roman street is a study in contrasts. It is both slender and bustling, hemmed in by the towering facades of insulae, the multi-story apartment buildings that house the majority of the city's inhabitants. These structures, with their jumbled architecture and patchwork of materials, lean precariously over the street, offering shade and a sense of enclosure. The street is narrow, often just wide enough for the passage of a single cart, yet it is here that the life of the city unfolds in all its vibrant complexity. The acoustic tapestry of this environment is rich and varied. The clip-clop of hooves echoes off the stone, mingling with the creak of wooden carts and the occasional shout of a vendor or the laughter of children at play. The air is alive with the sounds of human and animal life, a cacophony that is somehow harmonious in its familiarity. Dogs bark, chickens cluck, and the ubiquitous pigeons, ever-present denizens of urban life, coo softly from their perches. The olfactory landscape is equally diverse, a blend of aromas that tell a story of their own. There is the warm, enticing scent of fresh bread wafting from a nearby pastrinum, the Roman bakery where grain is ground and loaves are baked in communal ovens. Intermingled with this is the sharper tang of olive oil, a staple in the Roman diet, being poured into amphorae for sale. The pungent aroma of garum, a fermented fish sauce beloved by Romans, occasionally cuts through the air, a reminder of the culinary tastes of the time. Yet, not all smells are pleasant. The street is also home to more earthly odors, the inevitable byproducts of a densely populated urban center. The scent of smoke from cooking fires hangs in the air, joined by the less appealing notes of waste and refuse, reminders of the challenges of sanitation in ancient cities. despite these, the overall impression is one of life and vitality, a sensory immersion into the essence of Roman urban existence. These streets are more than conduits for traffic and trade. They are vibrant social spaces where public and private lives intertwine. The tabernae, or shops, that line the street are integral to this dynamic. Their open fronts invite passers-by to stop and engage, transforming the street into a marketplace of goods and ideas. Here, the exchange is not merely commercial, but also social, as neighbors pause to chat, share news, and reinforce the bonds of community. In this setting, the street becomes a stage for everyday interactions. Friends and acquaintances greet each other with a nod or a wave, their conversations punctuating the morning air with snippets of gossip, news, and plans for the day. The street is a place where the personal and the public blur, where one's life is conducted in the open, under the watchful eyes of neighbors and strangers alike. For our shopkeeper, the street is both a workplace and a community hub. It is where business is conducted, but it is also where relationships are nurtured. The shopkeeper knows many of the faces that pass by each day, recognizing the regular customers and exchanging pleasantries with them. Over time, these interactions form a tapestry of mutual reliance and trust, essential to the functioning of the local economy and social order. The street also serves as a conduit for information, a place where the latest news from the empire is discussed and dissected. In a world without newspapers or electronic media, the street is the primary channel for the dissemination of information, where word of mouth reigns supreme. News of political developments, military victories, or economic changes travels along these routes, carried by travelers, merchants, and ordinary citizens. As the day progresses, the street continues to evolve, responding to the rhythms of Roman life. The morning bustle gives way to the more measured pace of midday as the sun climbs higher and the heat becomes more pronounced. Yet, even in the quieter moments, the street remains a constant, a backdrop to the unfolding drama of daily life. The Roman street, in all its complexity, is a microcosm of the broader society. It reflects the intricacies of Roman civilization, the interplay of public and private, the blend of the mundane and the significant. For our shopkeeper, it is both a stage and a sanctuary, a place where the business of life is conducted in all its myriad forms. As we stand with him at the entrance of his shop, we are reminded that the street is not merely a physical space, but a living, breathing entity, a testament to the enduring spirit of urban life. As the first light of dawn gently caresses the rooftops of ancient Rome, the city begins to stir from its slumber. The sun, a timeless sentinel, rises over the hills, casting long shadows that stretch like fingers across the cobbled streets. The shopkeeper, feeling the quiet insistence of the day's demands, awakens to the call of another ordinary morning. The air is still crisp, carrying the faint promise of warmth that will soon envelop the bustling city. Our shopkeeper, perhaps a middle-aged man with lines etched into his face by years of labor, or a woman whose hands bear the marks of unending toil, begins the ritual of opening the shop. This ritual, repeated countless times, is as familiar as it is essential. The shop, a modest space nestled among many others, is protected by wooden shutters that have stood through the passing of many seasons. These shutters, painted and repainted, bear witness to the life of the street outside. their wood worn smooth by the hands that have opened and closed them over the years. With a creak and a groan, the shutters are lifted, revealing the heart of the shop. The cool, dim interior gradually fills with the pale morning light, illuminating shelves lined with goods that tell stories of distant lands and local crafts. An awning is unfurled, providing shade that will be appreciated as the sun climbs higher. This simple act of opening the shop is more than just a beginning. It is a signal, a marker in the rhythm of the day that echoes across the city. In Rome, time is not measured by the precision of a mechanical clock, but by the pulse of life itself. The Romans, with their sundials and water clocks, have an understanding of time that is fluid, dictated by the natural world rather than the rigid ticks of a clock. Sunrise is not merely a moment. It is a gradual unveiling, a gentle nudge to the city to awaken and resume its daily dance. This perception of time, more organic and less constrained, allows for a pace of life that ebbs and flows with the sun. As the city comes to life, the shopkeeper greets the first customers of the day. They are often familiar faces, neighbors who rely on the shop for their daily needs, workers on their way to the forum, and perhaps a few early risers passing by. Each interaction is a small thread in the tapestry of community, woven with greetings and exchanges that are both simple and significant. The shop itself is a microcosm of the city. Its wooden counter, polished by countless transactions, stands as a silent witness to the stories shared, the news exchanged, and the quiet communion of daily life. The shopkeeper, a figure both ordinary and essential, plays a role that is as much about connection as it is about commerce. As the sun climbs higher, the street outside grows busier. The soundscape of the city emerges, hooves clattering on stones, voices rising in conversation, the distant cry of a street vendor heralding the freshness of his produce. This symphony of sounds is the backdrop to the shopkeeper's morning, a reminder of the city's vibrancy and the interconnectedness of its inhabitants. The concept of time, for the Romans, is not just a measure of moments passing, but a lived experience woven into the fabric of their daily existence. The shopkeeper, through the simple act of opening the shop at dawn, participates in this timeless tradition, marking another day in the continuum of life. In this moment, as the shop fills with light and activity, there is a quiet beauty in the ordinary. The sun, climbing steadily in the sky, reminds us of the constancy of nature and the cyclical rhythm that governs all life. The shop, a small yet vital part of this ancient city, becomes a stage where the drama of everyday life unfolds. Thus, as the morning progresses, the shopkeeper remains a steadfast presence, rooted in the familiar cadence of the day. The simplicity of opening the shop at dawn, a ritual shared by countless others throughout the city, speaks to the enduring nature of human routine. It is a reminder that, despite the passage of centuries, the gentle rhythm of life continues, a rhythm that, like the sun, rises anew each day. In the heart of any Roman city, the humble shop, or tabernach, was a familiar fixture, its wares as diverse as the people who wandered its narrow confines. Imagine stepping inside one of these small but bustling spaces, the air thick with a medley of aromas, from freshly baked bread to the rich scent of olive oil. Here, the goods that lined the wooden shelves spoke volumes about the daily life of ordinary Romans, offering tantalizing glimpses into their culinary preferences, household necessities, and the very fabric of their social interactions. The Roman shopkeeper, much like a modern-day curator, arranged their wares with a practiced hand, displaying a range of foodstuffs that catered to the appetites and needs of their patrons. Bread, a staple of the Roman diet, was available in various forms, from the round, flat panis to the more luxurious panis quadratus, marked with a cross to facilitate easy sharing. The shopkeeper might also offer an assortment of grains, such as spelt and barley, which customers would purchase and have milled to their preference. Olive oil, another essential component of Roman cuisine, was stocked in large amphorae, their clay surfaces inscribed with the mark of the producer or the place of origin. This golden liquid, used not only for cooking but also for lighting lamps and anointing the body, was a testament to the interconnectedness of Roman trade, with oils imported from as far afield as Hispania and Africa. Alongside the oil, jars of olives and salted fish would add flavor and variety to the Roman table. Wine, the drink of choice for many Romans, occupied a prominent place in the shop. Stored in large earthenware jars, wine was not just a beverage but a social lubricant, facilitating conversation and camaraderie. The discerning shopkeeper might offer different types of wine, ranging from the everyday akvinums to the more refined Falernian, allowing customers to choose according to their taste and budget. Beyond the realm of food, Roman shops offered a selection of household items that were indispensable to daily life. Pottery, for instance, was a ubiquitous presence, with vessels of various shapes and sizes catering to the storage and preparation of food. From the sturdy olach used for cooking to the delicate patera for serving, these items were as practical as they were pleasing to the eye. Cloth and textiles, another common offering, reflected the diverse influences that permeated Roman society. Bolts of wool and linen, dyed in rich hues or left natural, were available for those wishing to fashion their own garments. The shopkeeper might also stock ready-made clothing items, such as tunics and cloaks, providing for the needs of those unable or unwilling to make their own. Tools and implements were also part of the shop's inventory, catering to the various trades and crafts that sustained the urban economy. From the humble knife to the more sophisticated bronze mirror, these items were essential for both work and personal maintenance. The shopkeeper, understanding the importance of quality, would ensure that these tools were of reliable make, sourced from reputable local artisans or imported from specialized centers of production. In this environment, the concept of specialization began to take shape, though not in the manner of modern business practices. Rather than focusing on a single type of product, Roman shopkeepers often carried a range of goods that reflected the needs and preferences of their community. This approach was both pragmatic and adaptive, allowing them to respond to the ebb and flow of demand while maintaining the flexibility to introduce new products as they became available. Specialization in the Roman context was more a matter of emphasis than exclusivity. A shopkeeper might be known for carrying particularly fine textiles or for offering a superb selection of wines, yet they would still stock a variety of other goods to ensure that their shop met the diverse needs of their clientele. This approach fostered a sense of community, with customers returning not only for the goods, but also for the familiarity and reliability that came with established relationships. Furthermore, the absence of large-scale manufacturing meant that many goods were still produced by individual craftsmen or small workshops, often located within the same neighborhood as the shop. This proximity allowed for a degree of customization and personalization, with customers able to request specific items or modifications to suit their needs. The shopkeeper served as a vital intermediary in this process, facilitating communication and ensuring that the customer's desires were met to the best of the artisan's ability. In this bustling microcosm, the Roman shop was more than a place of commerce. It was a focal point of social interaction and exchange. As customers browsed the shelves, they might engage in conversation with the shopkeeper or fellow patrons, discussing the quality of goods, the latest news, or simply sharing in the small rituals of daily life. Through these interactions, the shop became a living tapestry, woven from the threads of commerce, community, and culture, each transaction a moment of connection in the vast mosaic of Roman society. Thus, the Roman shopkeeper stood at the intersection of tradition and innovation, balancing the demands of the present with the legacies of the past. By offering a diverse array of goods, they not only sustained the practical needs of their community, but also nurtured the social bonds that underpinned the very fabric of Roman life. In the quiet routine of their daily trade, they played a vital role, not just in the economy, but in the ongoing story of their civilization. To understand the daily life of a Roman shopkeeper, we must first consider the intricate web of supply chains that sustained their livelihood. These supply chains, though devoid of the sophisticated technology we rely upon today, were nonetheless complex and, in their own way, remarkably efficient. They connected the bustling markets of the Roman Empire to local farms, distant provinces, and even far-flung lands across seas and mountains. Imagine, if you will, the gentle start of a day in the Roman countryside. As the sun peaks over the horizon, farmers begin their work, tending to fields of wheat, vineyards heavy with grapes, and olive groves. These local farms were the bedrock of the Roman economy, providing essential goods not only for sustenance, but also for trade. Grain, wine, and oil were the staples of Roman life, and their journey from field to shop was a testament to the interconnectedness of the Roman world. Local farms, however, were just one piece of the puzzle. The Roman Empire was vast, stretching from the wind-swept shores of Britannia to the sun-baked sands of Egypt. This expanse allowed for a rich tapestry of regional trade. Each province offered its own unique bounty: the fine ceramics of Gaul, the luxurious silks of the East, the aromatic spices from far-off India. These goods traversed the empire via an intricate network of roads and sea routes, eventually finding their way into the hands of shopkeepers who would sell them to eager customers. The Roman road system was an engineering marvel, a testament to the administrative prowess of the empire. These roads, often paved with stone, connected cities and towns, facilitating the flow of goods and people. Carts, drawn by sturdy oxen or nimble mules, rumbled along these routes, laden with goods destined for market. The roads were not merely thoroughfares, but vital arteries of commerce, bringing the bounty of the countryside into the heart of the city. Yet, not all goods traveled by land. The Mediterranean Sea, often referred to as the heart of the Roman Empire, was a bustling highway of trade. Ports dotted the coastlines, teeming with activity as ships docked and unloaded their cargo. These vessels, powered by wind and oar, carried goods across the sea, binding the empire together in a web of maritime trade. From the port cities, goods would travel inland, continuing their journey to the shops and markets where they were eagerly awaited. The role of middlemen in this process cannot be overstated. These traders and merchants acted as the vital links between producers and consumers, negotiating deals, arranging transport, and ensuring that goods reached their final destination. Their work required a keen sense for commerce and an ability to navigate the social and political landscapes of the time. In this world without modern technology, the flow of goods was a slow and deliberate dance, governed by the rhythms of nature and the constraints of human ingenuity. Seasons dictated the availability of certain products, weather could delay shipments, and political disruptions could sever trade routes. Yet, despite these challenges, the Roman supply chain was a testament to the resilience and adaptability of its people. In the quiet moments of the day, as the shopkeeper prepared to open the shutters and welcome the first customers, there was a sense of continuity. The goods arrayed on the shelves were more than mere items for sale. They were the result of a vast network of human endeavor, each piece a testament to the unseen hands that had cultivated, crafted, and transported it across the empire. In reflecting on this intricate web, we gain insight into the daily life of a Roman shopkeeper. It was a life intertwined with the natural world and the broader rhythms of empire. It was a life that, despite its challenges, was sustained by the collective efforts of countless individuals, each playing their part in the grand tapestry of Roman commerce. As we ponder this ancient world, we are reminded of the enduring human spirit and the remarkable capacity for cooperation that has always been at the heart of our shared history. In the bustling world of a Roman shopkeeper, the exchange of goods and services held a central place, driven by a system as intricate and nuanced as any grand architectural feat of the empire. Money, haggling, and trust formed the triad upon which daily commerce rested. Each day, as the sun bathed the narrow streets in a warm glow, the clinking of coins could be heard mingling with the chatter of traders and customers, a harmonious symphony of economic life. Roman coins, small yet significant, were the tangible symbols of wealth and trade. The currency of the Roman world was primarily based on metal, with coins minted in gold, silver, and bronze. These coins bore the images of emperors, deities, and symbols of power, each carefully designed to assert authority and instill confidence. The denarius, a silver coin, was perhaps the most famous, its value and weight standardized, allowing it to circulate widely across the vast. Yet, for the average shopkeeper, smaller denominations, such as the bronze as, were the everyday currency, passed from hand to hand in the exchange of goods. However, the use of these coins was not as straightforward as it might seem to those accustomed to modern currency systems. The absence of paper money and electronic transactions meant that each coin held a tangible weight, its worth measured not just in terms of face value, but also in the metal from which it was forged. This added a layer of complexity to transactions, as the integrity and purity of each coin were of paramount importance. Forgeries, although a risk, were relatively rare due to the sophisticated minting techniques employed by the Romans. Haggling was an art form, a dance of words and gestures that played out in the market squares and shop fronts. It was a social ritual, a performance where both buyer and seller engaged in a verbal sparring match, each seeking the most favorable outcome. The initial offer was rarely the final price. Instead, it was the starting point for negotiations, which might involve a mixture of flattery, persuasion, and even a little theatrics. A shopkeeper would extol the quality and rarity of their goods, while the customer might feign disinterest or point out minor flaws. The process of haggling was not merely about arriving at a fair price. It was also a means of establishing a relationship, a rapport between individuals. It required keen observation and an understanding of human nature, both parties attuned to the subtle cues that might reveal a willingness to concede or a determination to hold firm. Through haggling, the boundaries of social interaction were explored and reinforced, creating a dynamic marketplace where commerce was as much about personal connection as it was about the exchange of goods. In the absence of modern legal frameworks and formal contracts, trust played an indispensable role in the functioning of the Roman economy. Informal networks of trust underpinned transactions, allowing commerce to flourish even in the absence of detailed written agreements. Reputation became a form of currency in its own right, a valuable asset that could make or break a business. A shopkeeper known for honesty and fair dealing would attract loyal customers, while one with a reputation for deceit might find their trade dwindling. These trust networks extended beyond individual interactions, weaving through the fabric of Roman society. Shopkeepers often relied on informal credit arrangements, where goods could be taken on promise of future payment. This practice required a deep well of mutual trust, as the risk of default was ever present. Yet, in a world where personal honor and social standing were closely intertwined, maintaining one's reputation was often incentive enough to honor these commitments. Furthermore, these networks of trust were bolstered by the tight-knit nature of Roman communities. In cities and towns, people were closely connected, their lives interwoven through daily interactions and shared spaces. Word of mouth was a powerful force, capable of building or dismantling reputations with remarkable speed. A single act of generosity or fairness could ripple through the community, enhancing a shopkeeper's standing, while unscrupulous behavior could see them shunned. Thus, the Roman economy, though lacking the formal structures of modern financial systems, operated on principles that were deeply human. Coins were not just metal, they were tokens of trust, each transaction a microcosm of social negotiation. This reliance on reputation and personal relationships ensured that commerce was not an impersonal exchange, but a deeply embedded social activity, rich with meaning and consequence. As our imaginary shopkeeper navigates this world, each day brings a new set of challenges and opportunities woven together through the delicate balance of money, barter, and trust. It is a world where human connection is paramount, where the weight of a coin is matched by the weight of one's word, and where every transaction tells a story of community and character. In understanding this, we glimpse the intricate tapestry of Roman life, a world both distant and strangely familiar, where the echoes of ancient voices can still be heard in the quiet moments of trade. In the gentle hum of a Roman street, the local shop served as more than a mere point of commercial exchange. It was a vibrant nucleus of social interaction. As the first light of day filtered through the narrow alleyways, the shopkeeper would brace for a steady stream of customers who brought with them not just their needs, but also the pulse of the community. Imagine stepping into the shop, a modest yet bustling space that exuded an inviting warmth, the kind that only familiarity can nurture. The air was thick with the mingling scents of produce, fresh bread, and aromatic herbs. It was here, amid the goods and commodities, that the true business of daily life unfolded, the business of conversation. Gossip was the lifeblood of this social hub. Customers, neighbors, and passers-by would stop, not only to purchase goods, but to share tidbits of news that flowed like a murmured stream. Who had left for the provinces? Which senator had been seen with a new companion? What whispers circulated about the latest edict from the emperor? Such exchanges were not mere idle chatter. They formed a vital thread in the fabric of community life, weaving connections and shared histories among the inhabitants of this bustling city. News, too, arrived at the shop, carried by the lips of travelers and traders whose stories reached the ears of eager listeners. In a world where newspapers and electronic messages were non-existent, the spoken word reigned supreme. The shop was a forum where the latest developments from distant lands were recounted, dissected, and debated. It was here that the community learned of events far beyond the city walls, their imaginations stretching across the empire, from the icy frontiers of Britannia to the sun-drenched shores of Egypt. Yet, these interactions were not merely transactional. They were infused with rituals of familiarity that gave life a comforting rhythm. The exchange of pleasantries, the familiar jests, and the predictable routines all served to reinforce a sense of belonging. The shopkeeper, well versed in the nuances of each customer's needs and preferences, became a confidant and a trusted figure, someone who knew not just the orders of the day, but the stories behind them. In this communal space, privacy was a rare commodity. The concept of personal space, as we might understand it today, was almost non-existent. Lives were lived openly, and secrets were hard to keep in the close quarters of a Roman neighborhood. The shop, with its open doors and constant flow of people, epitomized this absence of solitude. Conversations were public, and the eyes and ears of the community were ever present. Yet, this lack of privacy also fostered a profound sense of connection. The community was a tapestry of lives so intricately interwoven that the joys and sorrows of one were, by extension, shared by all. It was within this environment that the small rituals of daily life played out. A nod here, a wink there, the gentle banter exchanged over a measure of olive oil or a loaf of bread. These interactions, seemingly trivial, were the building blocks of social cohesion. They affirmed relationships and reinforced the social order, reminding each participant of their place within the larger whole. The shopkeeper, standing behind the counter, was both participant and observer in this dance of human interaction. With a keen eye and a patient ear, they navigated the complexities of social exchange, balancing the demands of commerce with the subtleties of personal relationships. The ability to recall faces, names, and personal histories was not just a skill, but a necessity. Trust was built on familiarity, and it was this trust that underpinned the very mechanics of trade and community life. As the day unfolded and the sun traced its arc across the sky, the shop remained a constant, a place where individual stories met and mingled. It was here that the community gathered, not just to purchase goods, but to reaffirm their place within the social fabric. This was a world where the separation between personal and public was blurred, where life was lived in the open, and where the shopkeeper played a pivotal role in maintaining the delicate balance of community life. In reflecting on these interactions, one might marvel at the resilience and adaptability of human society. The shop was more than a commercial enterprise. It was a microcosm of Roman life, a testament to the enduring power of human connection. It served as a reminder that, despite the passage of time, the fundamental aspects of community remain remarkably constant. In every era, the need for companionship, the sharing of stories, and the rituals of daily life continue to define us, connecting us to those who came before and those who will follow in our footsteps. In the quiet rhythm of a Roman day, the life of a shopkeeper was rarely a solitary pursuit. Instead, it unfolded as a collective endeavor, woven together by the threads of family ties and the intricate fabric of social hierarchy. To step behind the counter of a Roman taberna was to enter a world where the boundaries between home and work blurred seamlessly, creating a unique tapestry of life and labor. The shopkeeper, often the paterfamilias, was the central figure, yet he was not alone in his pursuits. His spouse, the materfamilias, played an indispensable role, one that was both practical and nurturing. She might greet customers with a warm, knowing smile, her hands deftly wrapping goods or tallying accounts. Her presence was a constant, quiet force, guiding the shop's activities with a gentle precision that belied the complexity of her contributions. Children, too, found their place within this familial microcosm. From an early age, they were drawn into the rhythm of the shop's daily operations. Young ones might be seen darting in and out, delivering messages or fetching items, their laughter mingling with the hum of business. As they grew older, they took on more responsibilities, learning the art of negotiation, assisting customers, or even managing the shop in their parents' absence. This early immersion in commerce provided a practical education, equipping them with skills that would serve them throughout their lives. The concept of family in a Roman shop extended beyond blood relations, encompassing a more complex social network that included enslaved individuals. These people, bound by circumstances rather than choice, were integral to the shop's operations. Their roles were multifaceted, ranging from mundane tasks such as cleaning and stocking shelves, to more nuanced responsibilities like managing accounts or engaging with customers. While their existence was marked by subjugation, their contributions were vital to the shop's success. Within this dynamic environment, the lines between personal and professional life were indistinct, if they existed at all. The shop was often part of the family home, with living quarters situated above or behind the retail space. This arrangement meant that life unfolded in a continuous flow, with the sounds of commerce intertwining with domestic life. Meals were prepared and consumed amidst the bustle of trade, and the shop's activities were punctuated by the rhythms of family life. A child's cry, a shared joke, a quiet moment of respite. This integration of life and work defies our modern notions of separation. Today, we often speak of work-life balance as an ideal to be achieved, a careful division between the demands of our professions and the sanctity of personal time. Yet, for the Roman shopkeeper, such distinctions were irrelevant. perhaps even inconceivable. The shop was not merely a place of business, it was a living, breathing extension of the family unit, a space where relationships were forged and strengthened through shared labor and shared lives. In this setting, the notion of hierarchy was both pronounced and nuanced. The paterfamilias held authority, yet his success was inextricably linked to the efforts of his family and those he commanded. The materfamilias wielded influence in subtle yet significant ways, her role essential to the harmony and efficiency of the shop. Enslaved workers, though constrained by their status, were entrusted with responsibilities that demanded trust and competence. This delicate balance of power and dependency created a complex social ecosystem, one that thrived on cooperation and mutual reliance. The shop itself, with its wooden counters and clay vessels, was a stage upon which these interactions played out. Customers, drawn by necessity or curiosity, became part of this familial scene, their presence folding into the narrative of the day. Transactions were more than mere exchanges of goods for coins. They were opportunities for connection, for the sharing of stories and the weaving of relationships. In this way, the shop was both a marketplace and a meeting place, a hub of community life where the personal and the professional converged. As the day unfolded, the rhythms of the shop echoed the greater rhythms of Roman society. Festivals and public holidays disrupted the usual flow, offering moments of collective pause and celebration. These occasions were marked by a temporary suspension of commerce, allowing families to step away from their duties and participate in communal festivities. Yet even in these moments of respite, the shopkeeper's thoughts might linger on the business, contemplating the impact of a holiday on sales or the potential for future opportunities. In considering the life of a Roman shopkeeper, we are invited to reflect on the nature of work and family, to reconsider the boundaries we draw between them. In the absence of modern conveniences and the separation of spaces, the Roman shopkeeper lived a life of integration, each day a testament to the interconnectedness of human endeavor. It is a reminder that while the world has changed in countless ways, the essence of human experience, the desire to connect, to provide, to sustain, remains a constant thread through time. In this quiet contemplation, we find a mirror to our own lives, a gentle invitation to consider the ways in which our modern existence might benefit from the lessons of the past. The Roman shopkeeper, with his family at his side and his livelihood intertwined with his home, offers a vision of life where work and family are not opposing forces, but complementary aspects of a singular, shared journey. In the heart of a bustling Roman street, the shopkeeper's day was punctuated by the rhythm of meals. As the sun rose and the shutters creaked open, so too did the aromas of the day begin to weave their tapestry through the air. Whether it was the faint, yeasty scent of freshly baked bread or the more robust aromas wafting from the local thermopolium, the Roman equivalent of a fast food stand, food was an ever-present companion to the daily grind. The diet of a Roman shopkeeper was guided by simplicity and necessity rather than culinary opulence. In the morning, a modest breakfast known as ientaculum might consist of bread dipped in olive oil or wine. For those fortunate enough to have access to it, a scattering of cheese or a handful of olives might accompany the bread. The Roman bread, panis, was a dense, often coarse affair, but it provided the sustenance needed to begin the day. Street food played a significant role in the dietary habits of those who spent their days in the tight embrace of Rome's bustling streets. Thermopolia, small establishments with large jars embedded in their counters, served hot meals to those who lacked the means or time to prepare food at home. Here, a shopkeeper might pause during the mid-morning to purchase a simple dish such as pulse, a porridge made from farro or barley, often flavored with vegetables or herbs. Lunch, or prandium, was a similarly unpretentious affair, typically eaten on the go or during a brief respite behind the counter. The meal might include leftovers from the previous day's dinner, perhaps a slice of cold meat or fish. Vegetables, such as beans or lentils, played a crucial role in the diet, providing essential nutrients and protein. These would often be seasoned with a splash of garum, a fermented fish sauce beloved by the Romans for its rich umami flavor. Portion sizes were generally modest, dictated by economic necessity and the physical demands of the day. A shopkeeper's lifestyle was active, requiring sustenance that was nourishing yet practical to prepare and consume. Meals were rarely elaborate, for time was a commodity in short supply. The rhythm of commerce dictated a certain efficiency in eating, and thus meals were often shared communally, with family members or fellow merchants gathering for a brief moment of reprieve. In the late afternoon, the main meal of the day, cena, awaited. This was the time when the Roman shopkeeper could finally unwind and enjoy a more substantial repast. Unlike the earlier meals, cena was often a social occasion, shared with family and, sometimes, close friends. Depending on one's means, the table might be graced with a variety of dishes ranging from stews of vegetables and legumes to roasted meats if the purse allowed. Diners would recline on couches around low tables, following the Roman tradition that lent an air of leisure to the meal. The act of reclining while eating, a practice inherited from the Greeks, was a symbol of relaxation and status, although in humbler households it might simply involve sitting on stools around a simple wooden table. The timing of meals was deeply intertwined with the natural progression of the day. The absence of modern clocks meant that life was dictated by the sun's journey across the sky. The morning meal took place shortly after dawn, while the midday break aligned with the sun's zenith. Cena, the largest meal, unfolded as the sun dipped towards the horizon, casting long shadows over the city. The Roman approach to eating was inherently social, with meals serving as opportunities for conversation and connection. The communal nature of dining fostered bonds among family members and strengthened the ties of friendship and cooperation among neighbors and colleagues. This aspect of Roman life underscores a profound difference from the often solitary or hurried meals of modern times. Yet, for all the simplicity, there was a certain artistry in the Roman kitchen. Herbs like coriander, dill, and mint added depth to the simplest of dishes. Honey, a treasured sweetener, might find its way into a dessert of fruits or nuts, while the ubiquitous olive oil was a staple, enriching both the palate and the body. The shopkeeper's meals were not just about nourishment. They were small rituals that punctuated the day, offering moments of solace and continuity amidst the demands of commerce. In this way, the act of eating was both a necessity and a small pleasure, a reminder of the rhythms of life that have persisted through the ages. As the day unfolded and the shadows lengthened, the shopkeeper, having shared meals with family and friends, would find comfort in the knowledge that tomorrow would bring the same familiar routines. Each meal, each bite of bread or sip of wine was a thread in the tapestry of daily life, connecting the shopkeeper to a broader community and a timeless tradition. In ancient Rome, religion was not merely a segment of life, sequestered to temples and grand ceremonies. Instead, it permeated the everyday, subtly weaving itself into the fabric of daily existence, including the life of a humble shopkeeper. Imagine, if you will, a modest Roman shop, its wooden shutters propped open to the early morning air. Within this space, religion was not a grand proclamation, but a series of gentle rituals, quiet devotions, and an ever-present backdrop to the rhythm of the shopkeeper's day. At the heart of every Roman household, including those that doubled as places of trade, were the lares and penates. These household gods were believed to protect the family and their home, ensuring prosperity and guarding against misfortune. In a typical Roman shop, a small shrine dedicated to these deities might be tucked into a corner, adorned with tokens and offerings. Each day would begin with a simple act of reverence, a sprinkle of wine, a morsel of food, or a whispered prayer invoking the god's favor upon the day's endeavors. Such rituals were not burdensome obligations, but rather comforting routines, grounding the shopkeeper in a world that could often be unpredictable. The presence of these household gods served as a reminder of continuity and stability, a quiet assurance that the divine was interwoven with the earthly, providing a sense of order in the mundane chaos of daily life. Beyond the immediate confines of the shop, the broader tapestry of Roman religion offered structure to the year through its myriad festivals and sacred days. These occasions were more than religious observances. They were community events that shaped the commercial calendar. For instance, the Compitalia festival was particularly relevant to shopkeepers. Celebrated in honor of the Lares Compitales, the gods of crossroads and neighborhoods, it involved offerings at street shrines, and it was a time when businesses might pause and communities would gather, reinforcing social bonds and mutual support. Religious festivals often dictated the flow of trade. Certain days were deemed sacred, during which business transactions were either prohibited or would naturally slow as citizens turned their attention to worship and celebration. This ebb and flow required shopkeepers to be attuned to the religious calendar, planning their stock and sales around these anticipated pauses. Yet, this was not seen as an imposition, but as a rhythm that blended commercial and spiritual life into a harmonious cycle. Moreover, the role of religion in trade extended beyond personal devotion and public festivals. It also encompassed the concept of divine favor and protection over business ventures. Romans often sought the goodwill of specific gods associated with their trade. For a shopkeeper who dealt in grain or produce, Ceres, the goddess of agriculture, might be a figure of particular veneration. Small altars or tokens dedicated to such deities could be found within the shop, offering a tangible connection between the divine and the day-to-day dealings of business. These religious practices were not mere superstition, but were deeply embedded in the Roman understanding of the world. To the shopkeeper, the gods were active participants in the success or failure of their enterprise. Their presence was reassuring, a constant reminder that one was never truly alone in the challenges of daily life. Even in the bustling, often noisy environment of a Roman street, the shopkeeper's quiet rituals offered moments of reflection and peace, amidst the hustle and bustle. Religion also played a crucial role in the ethical framework within which trade was conducted. The concept of pietas, or dutiful respect towards the gods, family, and society, informed the way business was done. Honor and integrity in transactions were not just social expectations, but moral imperatives underpinned by religious belief. Reputation, as we have seen, was paramount, and the fear of divine disapproval added a layer of accountability to the shopkeeper's dealings. In this way, religion was not an external force imposed upon the shopkeeper's life, but an intrinsic element that shaped and defined it. The rituals and beliefs of the Romans provided a foundational backdrop, a quiet infrastructure that supported the shopkeeper as they navigated the complexities of commerce and community. The gods were both silent partners and watchful guardians, their presence felt in every corner of the shop and every aspect of daily work. Thus, as the Roman shopkeeper went about their daily tasks, whether attending to customers, managing stock, or navigating the social intricacies of their neighborhood, their life was inextricably linked with the divine. Religion was a constant, a silent but steadfast companion in the ordinary and the extraordinary moments alike. It was a thread that connected the shopkeeper to their ancestors, their community, and the vast, intricate tapestry of the Roman world. In the bustling streets of ancient Rome, where shopkeepers opened their shutters to welcome the early morning light and the promise of a new day, the concept of order was woven into the very fabric of daily life. Yet, unlike the structured, codified systems of justice we are familiar with today, the Romans relied on a blend of official governance, social institutions, and age-old customs to maintain harmony and resolve disputes. Central to this tapestry of order were the collegia, or guilds, which served as more than mere professional associations. These guilds, often organized around trades or professions, provided a sense of community and mutual support. Membership in a collegium offered shopkeepers not only a network of peers but also protection and advocacy in times of conflict. If disputes arose over matters such as pricing, quality of goods, or business practices, the guild could mediate, drawing on collective wisdom and shared interests to seek resolution. It was a system that encouraged cooperation over competition, fostering a spirit of camaraderie among those who worked side by side in the bustling markets and narrow streets. Local officials, too, played a critical role in maintaining order. The aediles, for example, were magistrates tasked with overseeing the markets, ensuring that weights and measures were fair and that the goods sold were of acceptable quality. Their presence served as a reminder of the state's authority, a safeguard against the chaos that might otherwise ensue in a city as vibrant and populous as Rome. However, the reach of these officials was necessarily limited, and much of the day-to-day maintenance of order relied on informal mechanisms. Social pressure was perhaps the most pervasive and powerful means of ensuring compliance with societal norms. In a world where personal reputation was paramount, the prospect of public shame or ostracism was a potent deterrent against misconduct. Shopkeepers, whose livelihoods depended on the trust and goodwill of their neighbors, were acutely aware of the need to maintain positive social standing. Gossip, that ancient and ubiquitous form of social control, could swiftly ruin a reputation, turning erstwhile friends into wary customers and driving business away. In cases where disputes could not be settled through guild intervention or social persuasion, more formal avenues were available. The Roman legal system, known for its complexity and sophistication, offered a structured process for resolving conflicts. However, for the average shopkeeper, seeking legal redress was often a last resort. Court proceedings were time-consuming and could be costly, both in terms of money and social capital. Instead, many preferred to rely on informal negotiations, drawing on the networks of trust and reciprocity that underpinned their daily interactions. These negotiations were often facilitated by elders or respected community members, individuals who commanded respect and whose judgment was trusted. Their role was not unlike that of a mediator today, helping to guide discussions and find a compromise that satisfied all parties involved. It was a system that valued dialogue over decree, where the goal was not to punish, but to restore balance and harmony. In the rare instances where disputes escalated to violence, the repercussions could be severe. Roman law dealt harshly with those who disrupted the peace, and the consequences served as a stark reminder of the importance of maintaining order. Yet, such occurrences were exceptions rather than the rule, for the intricate web of guilds, social norms, and informal justice systems generally succeeded in keeping the peace. As we consider this blend of formal and informal mechanisms, we might marvel at the resilience of these ancient systems. They thrived in an environment where resources were limited and communication was slow, relying on human relationships and shared values to navigate the complexities of urban life. It is a testament to the ingenuity of our ancestors, who forged communities that, while different in structure, share with us the same fundamental desire for order and justice. In these reflections, we are reminded that while the details of our legal systems may have evolved, the underlying principles remain strikingly familiar. The balance between individual rights and communal responsibilities, the importance of reputation and trust, the reliance on both formal institutions and personal relationships. These are threads that continue to weave through the tapestry of human society. In the world of the Roman shopkeeper, as in our own, the quest for justice and order is a shared endeavor, grounded in the recognition that we are all part of a larger whole. In the gentle hum of a Roman street, beneath the daily rhythm of commerce and conversation, there lay an undercurrent of challenges that every shopkeeper knew intimately. It was a tapestry of small but persistent worries woven into the fabric of their lives. The ancient city, with its bustling markets and narrow alleys, was not only a hub of opportunity, but also a place where uncertainty lingered in the shadows. Fire, ever present and unpredictable, was a specter that haunted the narrow confines of urban life. Constructed largely from wood and thatch, Roman buildings were vulnerable to the smallest spark. A stray ember from a hearth or the careless flick of a torch could ignite a blaze that would consume entire blocks before the dawn's light could reveal the damage. Shopkeepers, acutely aware of this risk, were vigilant. They took careful measures, dampening the ground before closing, ensuring lanterns were well tended, and watching the skies for signs of smoke that might drift from a neighbor's rooftop. Despite these precautions, the fear of fire was a constant companion, a reminder of the fragility of their livelihoods. Theft, too, was a reality that every merchant faced. In crowded streets, bustling with the energy of hundreds of souls, the nimble hands of a thief could quickly relieve a distracted shopkeeper of their wares. There was no shortage of clever tricks, pilfered goods hidden beneath cloaks or spirited away by accomplices in the throng. To counter this, shopkeepers relied on the watchful eyes of family members and trusted workers. A web of mutual surveillance stretched across the street, each merchant a sentinel, not just for their own shop, but for their neighbors. Reputation was paramount, and those who earned a reputation for honesty and vigilance found themselves respected and supported by the community. Disease was another shadow that loomed large over Roman life. The dense population of the city, combined with limited sanitation, created fertile ground for the spread of illness. Shopkeepers, whose days were spent in close proximity to customers, were particularly vulnerable. The air carried more than just the mingled scents of spices and baked bread. It bore the invisible threat of contagion. In times of outbreak, the streets might grow quieter, the usual buzz of activity dampened by caution and fear. Yet even in such times, life pressed on. Remedies and talismans were sought, prayers offered to household gods, and the resilience of the human spirit shone through in the daily routines that continued despite the risks. Economic instability added another layer of complexity to the shopkeeper's life. The flow of goods, often dictated by the whims of politics and the caprices of distant markets, could shift without warning. A poor harvest in one region might ripple outward, affecting prices and availability in the bustling markets of Rome. Shopkeepers had to navigate these changes with care, adjusting their offerings and pricing to reflect the shifting landscape of supply and demand. They relied heavily on their networks, exchanging information and strategies with fellow merchants, finding strength in shared experiences and collective wisdom. Despite these challenges, or perhaps because of them, there was a remarkable resilience to the life of a Roman shopkeeper. The difficulties they faced were not insurmountable obstacles, but rather elements of a dynamic environment that required constant adaptation. Each day was a testament to their tenacity and ingenuity, qualities that enabled them to thrive in a world where uncertainty was a constant companion. The challenges of fire, theft, disease, and economic shifts were woven into the daily fabric of life, yet they did not define it. Rather, they added texture and depth to the existence of those who called Rome home. The shopkeepers, with their blend of vigilance and adaptability, navigated these waters with a quiet confidence. Their lives were an intricate dance, balancing the demands of commerce with the ever-present potential for disruption. In this dance, there was a beauty that lay not in the absence of difficulty, but in the grace with which it was managed. The shopkeeper's world was one of perpetual motion, a delicate equilibrium maintained through attentiveness and community support. They understood that life, much like the bustling streets they inhabited, was full of unpredictability. Yet it was in this unpredictability that they found the opportunity to connect, to innovate, and to build lives of substance and meaning amidst the noise and uncertainty. In reflecting upon the life of a Roman shopkeeper, we find a narrative of perseverance that resonates across the ages. It is a story not of perfect serenity, but of harmony achieved through resilience. It illustrates how, in the face of inevitable challenges, the human spirit finds ways to adapt, to endure, and ultimately to flourish. The ancient streets of Rome may have been fraught with risks, Yet they were also vibrant with the energy of lives lived fully in the embrace of both the known and the unknown. As the sun reaches its zenith, casting long shadows that seem to stretch lazily along the cobblestones, the Roman street eases into a slower rhythm. The morning's bustling energy gently subsides, giving way to a more languid pace. This midday slowdown is a familiar pattern, dictated not by the hands of a clock, but by the very climate itself, a subtle symphony orchestrated by the sun. The heat becomes a palpable presence, wrapping itself around the narrow streets, seeping into the stones and walls. It is as if the city holds its breath, pausing momentarily in deference to the sun's authority. The air thickens with warmth, and the vibrant sounds of life soften into a quieter hum. Conversations diminish to murmurs, the clatter of carts over cobblestones slows, and the calls of vendors fade to a gentle echo. In this interlude, the streets, usually alive with the scurry of feet and the jostle of bodies, find themselves less populated. Foot traffic reduces as people seek respite from the sun's glare, retreating into the shade of their homes or the welcoming cool of the tabernae. It's a time when the shopkeeper, too, might step back, momentarily free from the demands of trade. The shutters, once wide open to invite the day's commerce, might be drawn partially closed, allowing a sliver of light to dance across the shop floor. This midday pause is not merely a consequence of the heat, but a deeply ingrained rhythm of life, woven into the fabric of the day. It is a time for rest, for reflection, perhaps even for a simple meal shared with family, or a moment of solitude in the quiet embrace of one's thoughts. The shopkeeper, along with others in the community, may partake in a modest repast, a few morsels of bread dipped in oil, accompanied by a sip of wine. It's a humble meal, but one that nourishes both body and spirit, offering a brief escape from the day's toils. The Romans, though industrious, understood the necessity of balance, of pacing their efforts in harmony with nature's cues. The midday slowdown is a testament to this wisdom, a recognition that productivity is not merely a measure of constant activity, but also of knowing when to pause. The heat, while formidable, becomes a gentle guide, encouraging a moment of rest, a chance to replenish before the day's demands resume. In this stillness, the city listens. The distant call of a bird, the rustle of leaves, the soft whisper of a breeze through an open window, all become more pronounced, more intimate. The world outside the shop narrows, focusing into a more personal, introspective space. It's a time when thoughts can wander, when the mind, unburdened by immediate concerns, can drift towards the abstract, the philosophical. Perhaps the shopkeeper contemplates the nature of time itself, how it ebbs and flows, stretches and contracts, much like the day unfolding around them. Time in the Roman world is a fluid concept, not confined by the rigid ticking of a clock, but experienced as a series of natural transitions. The sun and its journey across the sky dictate the pace, marking the day's chapters with light and shadow. Work patterns are shaped by these celestial cues, a dance between the demands of commerce and the realities of the environment. The midday slowdown is a perfect illustration of this, a natural pause in the day's narrative that speaks to a deeper understanding of time as a lived experience. As the sun continues its arc, gradually descending towards the horizon, the city begins to stir once more. The heat, though still present, loses some of its intensity, and the streets slowly awaken from their midday slumber. The sounds of life return, growing bolder, more vibrant. The shopkeeper, too, prepares to re-engage with the day's activities, ready to welcome the afternoon's customers, to resume the familiar exchanges of goods and stories. Yet, even as the pace quickens, the memory of that midday pause lingers, a reminder of the delicate balance between effort and rest, between the demands of the present and the promise of what is yet to come. In this way, the climate, with its gentle insistence, shapes not only the work patterns of the shopkeeper, but the very rhythm of life itself. The midday slowdown becomes more than just a response to the sun's heat. It stands as a testament to the enduring wisdom of adapting to the world as it is, finding harmony within the natural ebb and flow of time. In the bustling world of a Roman shopkeeper, the rhythm of daily life was accompanied by the distant hum of an empire constantly in motion. Information, like the gentle ripple in a pond, spread slowly from the epicenters of power to the farthest reaches of Roman society. News was not the ever-present stream we experience today, but rather a scarce and precious commodity, arriving sporadically and often colored by the journey it had taken. Imagine, if you will, a traveler arriving at the shopkeeper's counter, dusty from the road, his stories as varied and textured as the lands he had crossed. Travelers were among the primary conduits of news, their tales weaving through the fabric of society like golden threads through a tapestry. They brought with them not only goods and wares, but also snippets of information, insights into distant lands, and the latest happenings from cities and towns far removed from the shopkeeper's own. These travelers might be merchants, soldiers, or messengers, each with their own unique vantage point. Merchants, journeying along established trade routes, could share news of economic conditions, the rise and fall of markets, or the scarcity of particular goods. Soldiers, perhaps stopping for a brief respite, might speak of campaigns, conquests, or peace treaties brokered in far-off lands. Even the humble messenger, tasked with delivering official communications, provided glimpses into the machinations of the empire, albeit filtered through the lens of officialdom. Rumor, too, played a significant role in the dissemination of news. In the absence of newspapers or broadcasts, word of mouth was a powerful force. A whispered conversation in the crowded market could set off a chain reaction, the details morphing and evolving as they passed from one person to the next. Rumor was a double-edged sword, capable of sowing both clarity and confusion. It was the original form of social media, a living entity that ebbed and flowed with the collective consciousness of the populace. Official announcements, when they arrived, carried the weight of authority. These were often inscribed on stone tablets or wooden boards and displayed in public spaces for all to see. The edicts of emperors, the outcomes of senatorial debates, and the proclamations of local magistrates offered a more structured form of news, though still subject to the interpretive lens of the reader or listener. Town criers might also spread these announcements, their voices carrying the words of Rome to those gathered in the forum or at public gatherings. Contrast this with our modern world, where information travels at the speed of light, bouncing from satellite to screen in a matter of seconds. The immediacy of news today is both a marvel and a challenge, a constant stream of data that can inform, overwhelm, or even desensitize. In the Roman world, the slower pace of information allowed for a more measured digestion of events, time for reflection and contemplation that our fast-paced society often lacks. For the Roman shopkeeper, the arrival of news was an event in itself, a moment that could shift the dynamics of the day. It was a chance to gather with neighbors and fellow traders, to discuss and debate, to speculate on the implications of a new law or the outcome of a distant battle. The shop, already a hub of social activity, became a theater of discourse, where the latest tidings were dissected and discussed, their impact felt long before any tangible consequence. There was, perhaps, a certain romance to this slower, more deliberate pace of news. It fostered a sense of community, a shared experience that bonded individuals through the collective act of listening and learning. The Roman world, vast and varied, was united not just by roads and armies, but by the stories and information that traveled along those same routes. Each piece of news was a thread, binding the people of the empire in a web of shared understanding and common purpose. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the cobbled streets, the shopkeeper might pause to reflect on the stories he had heard that day. Perhaps a tale of a new invention from the East, or a decree from the emperor that promised to change the flow of trade. These snippets of information, gathered and shared, were the lifeblood of his connection to the wider world, a reminder that beyond the confines of his shop, an entire empire thrived and pulsed with life. In this way, the Roman shopkeeper existed at the nexus of local and global, his daily routine infused with the echoes of distant lands and the whispers of far-off events. It was a life grounded in the here and now, yet ever mindful of the broader tapestry of human endeavor that stretched across the known world. And as he closed his shutters at the end of the day, the stories of the empire lingered in the air, a testament to the enduring power of news and the timeless human desire to know and understand. As the sun begins its gentle descent, casting elongated shadows across the cobblestones, the Roman shopkeeper becomes attuned to the subtle shift in the day's rhythm. The bustling energy that marked the morning and midday has softened, replaced by a quieter, more reflective atmosphere. The final customers of the day, those who have lingered in their tasks, or perhaps those who simply cherish the tranquility of the evening, begin to make their way toward the shop. It's during these late hours that the shopkeeper often finds the most meaningful interactions. The hurried transactions of the morning give way to more leisurely exchanges. Neighbors who might have been mere acquaintances during the rush now engage in longer conversations, sharing snippets of their day or discussing the latest news from the city. There's an unspoken understanding that these interactions, though seemingly mundane, are the threads that weave the social fabric of the community. The shopkeeper observes each customer with a practiced eye, noting their needs and preferences. An older gentleman, known for his penchant for a particular kind of olive oil, enters with a nod of familiarity. A young mother, her child clinging to her hand, requests a small bundle of dates to placate a sweet tooth. Each transaction is both a routine and a ritual, a small affirmation of the day's success. As the final purchases are made, the shopkeeper begins the process of closing the shop. The wooden shutters, which had greeted the dawn with a creak of promise, are now gently guided back into place. They close with a sense of finality, a barrier against both the night and the outside world. It's a task performed with care and, perhaps, a hint of gratitude for another day of business completed. Inside the shop, the air is tinged with the scent of the day's trade. spices, oils, and the faintest hint of the earthiness carried in by customers' sandals. The shopkeeper takes a moment to breathe in this familiar aroma, a comforting reminder of both continuity and change. It is now time to account for the day's transactions, a task approached not with ledgers or detailed records, but with memory and instinct. In this era, where writing materials are precious and not squandered on the everyday, accounting is an art of recollection. The shopkeeper relies on a keen memory, honed over years of practice, to tally the goods sold and the coins received. It's a process that requires focus and presence, a moment to reflect on the day's ebb and flow. There's a quiet satisfaction in this ritual, a recognition of both effort and reward. As the shopkeeper mentally tallies the transactions, thoughts may wander briefly to what the morrow will bring, yet there's no rush to plan or predict. The evening is a time to acknowledge the day's work, to find solace in the familiar patterns that define life in this ancient world. The act of closing the shop is not merely a conclusion, but a gentle pause in the ongoing narrative of daily life. With the shutters secured and the mental ledger complete, the shopkeeper takes a final look around the now dim interior. The glow from a single oil lamp casts flickering shadows, creating a scene both serene and timeless. Each object within the shop, jars of dried herbs, neatly stacked amphorae, baskets of produce, rests in its place, ready to resume its role with the dawn. Outside, the city gradually quiets as the sun dips below the horizon. The sounds of voices and footsteps grow sparse, replaced by the soft rustle of evening breezes and the distant hum of nocturnal life. It's a time when the city itself seems to draw a collective breath, a moment of repose before the cycle begins anew. The shopkeeper steps outside, feeling the coolness of the evening air, and pauses for a moment to observe the street. The faces of passers-by are familiar, each carrying their own stories, their own pieces of the day. There is a shared understanding, a communal acceptance of the rhythm that governs life within these ancient walls. As the shopkeeper turns to make the short journey home, there is a comforting sense of belonging. The shop, though small and unassuming, is a vital part of the community's heartbeat. It is a place of exchange, not just of goods, but of stories, greetings, and the simple acknowledgement of one another's presence. In the quiet of the evening, as the last light fades and the city prepares for rest, the shopkeeper reflects on the day with a sense of peace. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges and joys, but for now, there is contentment in the knowledge that the day has been well spent, that the simple acts of opening and closing a shop have contributed to the ongoing tapestry of life in this enduring city. As the shopkeeper retreats into the shadows, the street settles into its nightly rhythm. The echoes of the day linger softly, a reminder of the continuity of life, unbroken and serene. As the day draws to a close, the once vibrant Roman street begins to settle into a gentle hush. The air, still warm from the sun's earlier embrace, now carries a subtle chill, a reminder of the impending night. The shopkeepers, having completed their final transactions, draw the wooden shutters closed, a ritual as old as the city itself. These shutters, now firmly in place, mark the boundary between the bustling world of commerce and the quietude of home. The streets, once thrumming with the symphony of daily life vendors calling out their wares, the clatter of cartwheels on cobblestones, The chatter of passers-by now transform into something softer, more subdued. The sounds that remain are those of closing routines, the shuffle of sandals on stone, a distant voice bidding farewell, the creak of a door swinging shut. It is a time of transition where the energy of the day gently recedes, leaving behind a calm stillness. Lighting in a Roman city after dark is a study in contrasts. Where the sun once painted the city in vibrant hues, the night relies on more modest means. Oil lamps flicker to life, their warm glow casting pools of light that dance across the rough stone walls. These lamps, with their simple design, serve as small beacons, illuminating the immediate space but leaving the rest in shadow. They are economical in their use, a necessity in a world where resources must be carefully managed. The streets, now draped in twilight, offer a different kind of beauty. The darkness, punctuated by the occasional lamp, invites a sense of mystery. Curfews, though not rigidly enforced, encourage the city's inhabitants to retreat indoors. The reason is practical. The night, with its limited visibility, harbors uncertainties. Yet there is also a social aspect to this retreat. It is a time for families to gather, to reflect on the day's events, and to prepare for the one to come. Inside the home, the rhythms of domestic life take over. The shop's public face may be hidden behind shutters, but within these walls, life continues in a quieter form. Meals are prepared, often simple in their ingredients, but rich in the comfort they provide. Bread, olive oil, perhaps a few preserved olives or some cheese, form the basis of the evening repast. These meals are shared experiences, drawing family members together in a circle of warmth and familiarity. Conversations flow gently, touching on the events of the day, the challenges faced, and the small victories achieved. There is a shared understanding here, a recognition of the collective effort that sustains the household. The children, having spent the day in a mixture of play and work, find comfort in these routines, their world shaped by the steady cadence of family life. As the evening progresses, tasks are completed with a sense of quiet purpose. Clothing is mended, tools are cleaned and stored, and plans for the morrow are tentatively laid out. The simplicity of these tasks belies their importance, each one contributing to the smooth running of the household. It is a time for reflection, for taking stock, and for finding solace in the familiar. Outside, the city's transformation is nearly complete. The streets, now largely deserted, echo with a different kind of life. The sounds of nature reclaim the space. The rustle of leaves in a gentle breeze, the distant call of a night bird, the soft whispers of the wind as it weaves through the narrow alleys. These sounds, so easily overlooked in the bustle of day, become more pronounced, their subtlety a reminder of the world beyond the city walls. For those who do venture out, the night offers its own rewards. The stars, slowly appearing in the velvet sky, provide a celestial map, unchanged since time immemorial. These constellations, familiar yet distant, offer a sense of continuity, a reminder of the greater universe to which this small city belongs. The moon, if visible, casts its silvery light, softening the harsh lines of the cityscape, creating shadows that dance in the gentle breeze. As the hour grows later, the city's energy continues to decrescendo. The oil lamps, one by one, are extinguished, their duty performed for another day. Families retire to their sleeping quarters, the day's labor having earned them the rest they now seek. Bedding is simple, often shared, a pragmatic arrangement in a world where space is at a premium. Sleep, when it comes, is a welcome embrace, a respite from the demands of the day. In these final moments before sleep, the mind may wander over the events of the day, linger on a conversation or a fleeting moment of joy. It is a time for quiet contemplation, for internal musings that need not be hurried or resolved. The night, with its enveloping darkness, provides a canvas for dreams, a space where imagination can roam free, unencumbered by the constraints of daylight. And so the city sleeps, wrapped in a cloak of serenity, its heart beating steadily beneath the stars. The night, with its own gentle rhythm, cradles the city and its inhabitants, promising renewal with the coming dawn. This cycle, as old as the city itself, continues, marking time in a manner both unhurried and eternal. As the stars keep their silent vigil, the city rests, poised on the edge of tomorrow, ready to awaken once more with the first light of day. As the Roman city settles into the embrace of night, the bustling streets gradually give way to a quieter, more introspective landscape. The day's activities, with their lively exchanges and ceaseless rhythms, now yield to the tender hush of evening. The air cools, and a certain stillness descends, one that invites contemplation and rest. In the humble quarters behind the shop, the shopkeeper and family prepare for the night. Here, the sleeping arrangements are simple yet functional, reflecting a life where space is shared and privacy is a rare luxury. Mats or low wooden beds might be laid out, often in the very room used for both dining and work, a testament to the multifunctional nature of Roman domestic spaces. The family, including children and any enslaved workers, may sleep in close proximity, a practice that fosters a sense of security and togetherness, even as it blurs the lines between personal and communal living. The Roman approach to sleep is pragmatic, shaped by both necessity and the environment. Bedding, modest in its comfort, is typically stuffed with straw or wool, offering warmth against the chill of the night air. Blankets woven from wool provide additional insulation, their coarse texture a familiar comfort. The darkness outside is profound, punctuated only by the faint glow of oil lamps or the distant flicker of torches, their light casting gentle, dancing shadows upon the walls. Yet, with the onset of night comes a heightened awareness of its inherent uncertainties. Fire, a constant companion by day, becomes a latent threat by night. The open flames that illuminate and warm can, with a single careless moment, transform into a dangerous blaze. Thus, great care is taken to ensure that lamps are safely extinguished or placed in secure locations, away from flammable materials. The memory of past fires, perhaps whispered in cautionary tales, serves as a collective reminder of the fragility of safety in an ancient city. Outside, the city does not fall entirely silent. The night brings its own symphony of sounds, a subtle yet persistent background to the quietude within. The distant clatter of a cart on cobblestones, the bark of a dog, or the occasional call of a night watchman making his rounds. These noises, while sometimes startling, become part of the familiar soundscape, a reassurance of life continuing even in the hours of rest. As sleep takes hold, dreams weave their intricate patterns in the mind, a world both familiar and fantastical. The Romans, like us, pondered the mysteries of dreams, viewing them as omens, messages from the gods, or mere reflections of the day's concerns. In sleep, the boundaries of reality blur, allowing the mind to wander freely, unshackled from the constraints of the waking world. The shopkeeper's thoughts might drift through these nocturnal voyages, touching upon hopes, worries, or the simple gratitude for another day's survival. It is a time for reflection, for quiet resolutions made in the stillness of night. As the family slumbers, the rhythms of their breathing merge into a gentle chorus, a reminder of their shared existence and the continuity of their everyday lives. Yet, there is an underlying awareness of the unknown, the elements of the night that lie beyond human control. The darkness, despite its tranquility, holds secrets that remain just out of reach. The Romans, with their rich pantheon of gods and superstitions, understood this duality, respecting the night as both a time of peace and a realm of potential threats. In this quiet interlude, the mind finds a place for introspection, a chance to ponder the day's events and the small victories or challenges that have unfolded. The shopkeeper might consider the myriad interactions and transactions, the faces of customers, familiar or new, each leaving an imprint on the tapestry of the day. It is these moments of reflection that shape the next day's intentions and actions, a cycle of continuity that defines the ordinary yet profound nature of daily life. And so, as the city rests beneath the watchful gaze of the stars, the night slowly unfurls its secrets. The shopkeeper and family, cocooned in their simple abode, are part of a larger narrative, one that spans generations and stretches across the vast expanse of the Roman Empire. It is a story of resilience, of ordinary lives lived with quiet dignity amidst the ebb and flow of history. In the embrace of night, the world narrows to the confines of the room, yet expands in the mind's eye, reaching out to the possibilities of what lies ahead. The shopkeeper, like countless others, finds solace in the routine of life, a rhythm that carries them through each day and into the mysteries of the unknown night. As sleep deepens, the city itself breathes in unison, a living entity bound by the shared experiences of its inhabitants. Thus the night progresses, unfurling its quiet tales and unseen dreams, until the first light of dawn begins to stir once more, signaling the promise of a new day and the continuation of life's gentle, enduring cycle. As we find ourselves amidst the remnants of ancient Rome, a civilization both distant and profoundly connected to our own, we are invited to ponder the threads that weave our lives together with those of the past. Standing on the threshold of understanding, we observe the Roman shopkeeper and his world, contemplating what might seem alien and what might resonate with familiarity. Consider the shopkeeper's day, bound not by the tick of a clock, but by the sun's arc across the sky. The Roman timekeeping system, with its division of daylight into 12 variable hours, might appear perplexing to our modern sensibilities, accustomed as we are to precise, unchanging measurements of time. Yet there is a certain freedom in this fluidity, a natural rhythm aligned with the Earth's cycles, which might strike a chord with those yearning for a simpler, more organic pace of life. As we move through the bustling streets, the lack of personal space might feel foreign to our modern preference for privacy and solitude. Roman streets were vibrant corridors of commerce and conversation, where the boundaries between public and private life were blurred. This close-knit community, where news and gossip flowed freely, might evoke a sense of nostalgia for times when human connections were woven tightly into the fabric of daily existence. In our digital age, where virtual interactions can sometimes feel isolating, There is a certain charm to the idea of a community where one's presence and participation were expected and valued. The shopkeeper's reliance on informal networks of trust and reputation, rather than the written contracts and legal assurances we depend upon today, might seem both quaint and risky. Yet, this reliance on personal integrity and communal memory fostered a deep sense of accountability and connection, reminding us of the enduring power of trust and relationships, even in our complex, transaction-driven world. The goods on offer in a Roman shop might elicit both surprise and recognition. While some items, such as amphorae of olive oil or garlands of garlic, might seem exotic, others, like bread and wine, remain staples in our diets today. The simplicity of the Roman palate, with its emphasis on fresh, local produce, echoes contemporary movements towards sustainable and mindful eating. The shopkeeper's trade, though limited by the technology of the time, was inherently tied to the rhythms of nature, a reminder of our ongoing relationship with the land and its bounty. In examining the shopkeeper's family life, we might reflect on the seamless integration of work and home, a concept that has resurfaced in recent times with the rise of remote work and flexible schedules. The Roman shopkeeper's household, where family members of all ages contributed to the business, offers a glimpse into a world where work was a shared endeavor, blurring the lines between professional and personal life. This communal approach to labor, while challenging in its demands, fostered a sense of belonging and purpose that resonates with those seeking balance and meaning in their own work lives. The role of religion in the shopkeeper's daily routine, with its small rituals and household deities, might initially seem distant from our secularized world. Yet, these practices reveal a deep-seated human need for connection to something greater than oneself, a need that persists in various forms today. Whether through traditional faiths or more personal spiritual practices, the search for meaning and protection continues to shape our lives, echoing the Roman shopkeeper's quiet invocations to the gods. As we contemplate the shopkeeper's experience of noise, stress, and uncertainty, we are reminded of the timeless nature of these challenges. The risks of fire, theft, and economic instability that loomed over the Roman shopkeeper resonate with the anxieties of our own times, albeit in different forms. Yet, the resilience and adaptability required to navigate these uncertainties are qualities that transcend eras, offering a comforting reminder of our shared human capacity to endure and thrive amidst adversity. In considering the flow of information, we are struck by the contrast between the slow, deliberate spread of news in the Roman world and the instantaneous, often overwhelming flow of information in our own. The patience and discernment required to sift through rumors and reports might feel foreign in an age of rapid consumption, yet these skills are perhaps more relevant than ever as we navigate the complexities of a hyper-connected world. As night falls in the Roman city, the absence of artificial light might feel unsettling, yet it also invites us to embrace the natural rhythms of rest and renewal. The Roman shopkeeper's world, cloaked in darkness and silence, mirrors our own need to retreat and recharge, reminding us of the restorative power of sleep and reflection. In this quiet comparison, we find ourselves contemplating the delicate balance between change and continuity, innovation and tradition. The Roman shopkeeper's life, with its blend of the familiar and the unfamiliar, invites us to reflect on our own journeys, to find comfort in the shared human experience and to appreciate the quiet persistence of ordinary lives that, though rarely recorded, form the true tapestry of history. In the vast tapestry of history, there are threads that shimmer with the brilliance of grand events, the rise and fall of empires, the echoes of battles fought, and the resonant speeches of leaders who shaped the world. Yet, the fabric of history is predominantly woven from the quieter, subtler threads of ordinary lives. Those millions upon millions of days filled with routine, familiar faces, and the gentle, rhythmic pulse of everyday existence. As we draw our focus to the life of the Roman shopkeeper, we find ourselves immersed in a world that, while distant in time, resonates with a certain timelessness. The shopkeeper's day unfolds with a predictable cadence, each sunrise heralding a new opportunity for commerce, conversation, and community. The opening of wooden shutters is more than a simple gesture. It is the start of a day that mirrors countless others, a continuity that has held steady through the ebbs and flows of history. In considering this life, we are reminded that history is not solely the domain of the powerful or the renowned. It is also the quiet narrative of those who lived without the expectation of fame or recognition. The Roman shopkeeper, with their modest taberna nestled among narrow streets, is representative of countless individuals whose lives were marked by the quiet pursuit of livelihood and the subtle joys of daily routines. These lives, though rarely recorded in the annals of history, form the bedrock upon which societies have been built. There is a profound humility in recognizing that the ordinary day of a Roman shopkeeper was, in essence, a link in a vast, unbroken chain of human experience. Each transaction, each shared conversation, each moment of pause to acknowledge the gods or exchange a smile with a neighbor contributes to the continuity of life as it was lived. These moments, seemingly mundane, are the essence of what it means to be human, to engage with the world and with each other in simple, meaningful ways. The rhythms of a Roman day, dictated by the sun's passage and the demands of trade, speak to a life deeply attuned to the natural world. Time, as experienced by the shopkeeper, was not measured in minutes or hours, but in the gradual shifts of light and shadow, the warmth of the sun, and the cool of evening. In this, there is a lesson of living in harmony with the world, of understanding one's place within a larger, interconnected system. As we reflect on these ordinary lives, we find a gentle reminder of the resilience and adaptability inherent in humanity. The Roman shopkeeper, navigating a world of economic uncertainties, social obligations, and personal aspirations, exemplifies the quiet strength that has persisted through the ages. It is a strength found in the ability to find joy in the small victories of daily life, to maintain hope amid challenges, and to cherish the connections forged with family and community. In contemplating the continuity of these lives, we are drawn to the realization that the essence of human experience transcends the boundaries of time and place. The desires and dreams of the Roman shopkeeper, security, prosperity, connection, are echoes of our own. We recognize in their lives the same fundamental pursuits that fill our days, the same search for meaning in the everyday. This continuity, this quiet persistence of ordinary lives, is what gives history its depth and richness. It reminds us that while the events that capture the headlines of history books are significant, It is the tapestry of everyday existence that truly defines the human story. The Roman shopkeeper, in their modest sphere, contributes to a legacy that is both humble and profound, a legacy that speaks to the enduring nature of human life with all its complexities and simplicities. As we conclude our reflections, we do so with a sense of calm appreciation for the lives that have come before us and the lives that will follow. In the quiet continuity of ordinary lives, we find a shared humanity that connects us across the ages. It is a continuity that invites us to pause, to reflect, and to appreciate the subtle beauty of the everyday. And in this appreciation, we find a gentle peace, a recognition that in the grand sweep of history, it is the quiet, unheralded days that form the foundation of who we are and who we will become.